Good morning. Today we're on a little road trip. It's about 8:30 in the morning. I had a few errands to do today. It's Thursday. It's the 27th, and it's a pretty nice sunny day out here. Gonna get up into the 70s probably for highs later on today. It feels really good right now. I'm not even wearing my coat. So we're gonna head up here to the old homestead where I grew up and kind of have a look at things and share some pictures of before and what of course it looks like now. And I know we already did that once back in January, I think it was. I showed you a little bit of that, but I'm going to get into a little bit more detail today, and then we're just going to get out of the house and have some fun out and about. We're no longer in the city, of course. We're out here kind of in the country. It's real pretty out here. I kind of wish I still lived out in here. Okay, I'm up here. That up there is the cemetery road. And we've been up to the cemetery before. We're going to go up into this area, which we called the Flats many years ago. And I'm parked right here in the car. And the house is back there. Of course, these trees were all planted in here after my mother moved out of this house in '91, but the house is back there. We'll get over here and take some shots at it. I feel a little funny. I'm standing here pointing the camera at somebody else's house, but we got a shot that I'll get right up here and taken from approximate this area right here, and it'll show the doghouse there on the corner. There were some trees right there on the corner of the fence. There used to be a carport there. It's gone, where the trash cans are at, and our dog and then somebody else's dog out here in the snow. And then we got a picture taken in 1970 of myself, my little brother, and my sister, and standing next to the old Rambler. It looks like we got 8 or 9 inches of snow, and that was taken right from about this area here with the car parked in front of the house. So my sister actually keeps an eye on this house quite a bit in the real estate market, looking for it to be like for sale or open house or whatever going on. And so far it's not become available, because if it were, we would like to go take a look at it. If it came up for sale, pretend to be, potential buyers, and just go in and have a look at it and see what it looks like after all these years. And or if it became an Airbnb, would be great. We would rent it, and like myself, my little brother, and my sister, and we're all that's left of the family now. There's nobody else. We would rent it and spend the night in it, just for the heck of it, just because we could. And probably sleep on sleeping bags or whatever, depending on the situation. So, but that has yet to happen. So walking over here a little bit, we'll take a quick look at the house there. Like I said, I feel funny pointing the camera at the house, but that's it right there. Would love to see what it looks like inside. So this was all just a great big field. When we first moved in, there was just I remember there was an old car, an abandoned car parked here, and there was probably one, maybe two over kind of over on the other side of my car there. And this place was just a mess. It was just a big abandoned field. And there was a shed. There was a shed approximately right here. And we'll take a couple of shots at that. Share a couple of old photos. One has my older brother standing out here in the field, I believe it is. It's hard to tell, old black and white pictures and all that. But this was our playground. Man, we had so much fun here, riding bicycles up and down the hill, and later on motorcycles. And we'll go over here eventually and look at some motorcycle hill climbs that I had, and we'll go up on top of what we used to call the flats, and there's now a skateboard park up there, and there on the other end there is now a dog park up on the other half of the flats. I've only been up there once right after it opened up, and it's really interesting. So you see the cemetery road there, and there's a road right below it, and that road's always been there, and went up to the big flat area. And apparently what had happened is whoever owned this property thought they were going to build a nice big house up there. So they got heavy equipment, bulldozer, whatever, and they just graded out a great big place to put a house. And then there was another road, which is now blacktopped, but it never was before, over there, and we'll walk up that road. That little hike, that little trail there is too steep for me anymore. But apparently that person decided a house was going to be built up there, and for whatever reason it didn't happen, and I don't know why. So that's the reason why there's a big flat area up there. I think we've looked at everything here at the house. I feel funny standing here with a camera like that, like I said. So we'll move on. So we have a creek over here. We have a lovely creek that should be flowing with some water right now, but I don't know. That bridge going across was never originally there. That's been added since they have paved all this and made it into a parking lot. But we do have a creek flowing with water. I have panned for gold many, 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 many times in this creek, and I actually found color several times. And this area was gold mined once upon a time in the 1800s. This whole area was gold mined. They found gold here way back then, as you can probably tell by seeing the old hand cart, the old mining hand cart, which would have been in a mine shaft somewhere. I was in a mine shaft up here back in the 1980s. I went with my little brother and my first brother-in-law as adults. We went up to find an old abandoned mine that had caved in, but somebody had dug it out so you could crawl in it. And I went in it with my brother and Charlie, and as you get in it, you had to crawl in, and then you get in it and you can stand up, and there was a hand cart just like this, similar to this, that was half buried by the cave-in, and I would imagine it's still in there to this day. I don't know, but it probably is. We won't be able to make that trip up to where that mine is. I sure would like to, but it's a horribly long, lengthy trip on a really steep, rutted out old logging road or whatever it is now. And I think it's even private property now, so I won't be making the trip up there. So as I've said, I have found color in this creek. As a teenager, I was really interested in and pretty obsessed with panning for gold and making my life's riches from panning for gold out of this creek. And I did find some, but I didn't find anywhere near enough to even begin to make it profitable, so make a living off of it. So this creek will go way up into the mountains. It starts probably about 5 miles up into the mountains. I know exactly where it starts. I used to get to it by riding dirt bikes years ago, but I have no way of getting up there now. We'll walk down here and show you another thing, and we'll be able to look at the house from across the creek. And again, this was all abandoned field here. This was never like this when we were growing up. These are the city shops. This is a library. And then down here is the original train depot. There was a train that ran up in this area in the late 1800s into the early 1900s, and it hauled mostly freight, but in the last few years of it, it was a passenger train, apparently, but that was even before my parents were born. So you can see a display set of railroad tracks right here. The railroad tracks actually ran, apparently, about where they have these tracks embedded into the ground. And all the way down to the stop sign, we're not going to go all the way down there, is the old train depot. And that's the original depot that they've restored and rebuilt. And the train ran up this street here, and then it continued on up in this area. Good morning. How are you?
Beautiful day, isn't it?
All right, talking to some people. Those people right there. Had a nice little conversation with them about stuff. And anyway, here we are on the other side of the creek. We had a nice little path, and it seems to be completely lost now, where we could walk down and go up the other side. And we had a bridge made out of planks down there so we could cross the bridge, but if it was only a couple inches off the ground. So, but it looks like most of the trees are still here. But that's the house, peeking through there. 2 bedrooms upstairs, an old attic converted, and then 1 bedroom downstairs. All right, let's move on.